Hey folks, welcome to BenOrBreak. I'm your host Ben, and you once again join me in playing The Lord of the Rings the card game. This is episode 3 in the Rando Deck series, where we take a random deck versus a random quest. To pick our random deck, you know the drill. Go to the most recent deck, get its deck ID, and set our random number generator for somewhere between 1 and that ID. We get 18,480, so that's a little late-ish. However, looking at the cards here, this seems to be a progression deck, including cards only from the core set and Hunt for Gollum. So progression decks are a popular style of play when you have a large collection, wherein instead of just building decks from all the cards that you have, you play scenarios in the order that they're released, adding cards from those expansions to your decks as you go. So this is just the core set and Hunt for Gollum. Looks like it is part of a fellowship, that is a set of decks designed to work together. The lore tactics one, and then this is the spirit leadership one. So this could be trouble, having a deck that is expecting another deck to be in play. We might have ran into that last episode, episode 2. Regardless, we'll try just doing this deck, generate our random scenario, and it is Trouble in Tharbad. This should be fun. This is from the 4th cycle, the Voice of our Isengard / Ringmaker cycle. A pretty frustrating cycle to play against, and you might see a little bit why from this scenario, but of all the scenarios in this cycle, this is definitely the one I'd want to be playing. Right, let's introduce our heroes. We have Theodred. He is a noble warrior of Rohan. After he commits to a quest, choose a hero committed to that quest. It can be himself. Add 1 resource to that hero's resource pool. Not all is dark. Take courage, Lord of the Mark. Gandalf the Two Towers. Here's our leadership hero. For spirit heroes, we first have Éowyn. She is a noble of Rohan. He has action. Discard 1 card from your hand to give Éowyn +1 will until the end of the phase. And basically every player can trigger that effect once each round. Slender and tall she was in her white robe girt with silver, but strong she seemed, and stern as steel, a daughter of kings. The Two Towers. Finally, a less often seen hero from the core set, Dúnhere. He is a warrior of Rohan. Dúnhere can target enemies in the staging area when he attacks alone. When doing so, he gets +1 attack. Captains rode to meet him at the ford, bearing messages from Gandalf. Dúnhere, chieftain of the folk of Harrowdale, was at their head, from the Return of the King. This is an all-Rohan hero lineup. Cards, however, are a bit of a mishmash. We have to decide if we want our mulligan. And I think I will take it. Really, the only thing I like there is Northern Tracker, possibly Snowborn Scout, possibly Dúnhere. Not that bad, but I think I will try again for Steward or Unexpected Courage. And bingo! We get Steward of Gondor, Unexpected Courage, Northern Tracker, as I hoped, and Hasty Stroke. Onto our quest card, Double Dealings. Your meeting with Nalir is interrupted by a host of orcs led by a man, Belach. In the ensuing chaos, you manage to escape with the dwarf, but the orcs pursue. Outnumbered, you must throw the orcs off your trail if you hope to escape. That set Belach and crossing at Tharbad aside out of play. Right, they're over here. Search the encounter deck for 1 copy of Spy from Mordor per player and add them to the staging area. We currently have 4, but we are only 1 player, not 4, so shuffle those others back in the deck. Make the empty mug the active location. Here's the empty mug. Players cannot reduce their threat. While it's in the victor display, meaning after we explore it, the current quest gains force. After a player card effect reduces the player's threat, remove it from the game. This prevents us from recycling threat reduction cards. Right now all we have is Wandering Took, which we couldn't even trigger because it requires another player to trigger. Here's our Spy from Mordor. I'll highlight that too. A Mordor Orc Spy. When it attacks, remove 1 time counter from the current quest. Some breed of spying orc, I guess, or a creature of theirs. Faramir, the Return of the King. Time counters are a new mechanic for this cycle. I don't remember if they occur in any others. But basically at the end of the round, you remove a time counter from whatever has a time counter on it, and then usually bad things happen once the last counter is removed. To finish that up, here's Nalir. First player gains control of Nalir, so he sticks around with us the whole game. At the beginning of the refresh phase, raise your threat by 1 for each player in the game. Thankfully that is just one, but he will be with us every round, so that is an extra threat every round. And if he leaves play, we lose the game. Great. He's pretty useless baggage. 0 will, 1 attack, 2 defense, 3 hit points. Alright, that's everything on the quest card. Time 4. Forced after the last time counter is removed from this quest, reduce each player's threat elimination level by 10 for the remainder of the game. Then place 4 time counters on this stage. Forced after one or more progress is placed on this quest, cancel all progress and reduce each player's threat by an equal amount. When all players have 0 threat, immediately proceed to stage 2. So instead of making progress, we reduce threat. The drawback is we have to do it before we keep running out of time and lowering our threat elimination level. In the default rules, that is 50. That is, if we reach 50 threat, we are eliminated. But every 4-ish rounds, that value decreases. We draw for our first round, Common Cause. Exhaust 1 hero you control to choose and ready a different hero. We will make such a chase as shall be accounted a marvel among the 3 kindreds, elves, dwarves, and men. Aragorn, the 2 towers. We'll want to get out Steward of Gondor quickly. It's made this is the second episode it's making an appearance, and no wonder it is a very, very popular card. We'll need another leadership resource first. This first round we'll probably just do a spirit card. I'm leaning toward Unexpected Courage. Oops, not exhauster. Remove resources. Attach to a hero. Exhaust Unexpected Courage to ready attached hero. Anything that can amplify the number of uses you get out of a hero is a strong card. Questing, we'll just do Eowyn and Theodred. I might decide to do Dúnhere also, even though he's only 1 will. I decide, since our threat's low enough, we'll quest Dúnhere and then have him ready with Unexpected Courage anyway. If we need to defend an emergency attack, we have Nalir, who has 2 defense. We reveal Cornered. When revealed, first player either removes a time counter from the current quest, or each enemy gets -20 engagement cost and +1 attack until the end of the round. That would be this guy at 20 engagement cost, 4 attack. Given that he would engage us at a value of 20, I choose to remove the time counter. Alright, we do make 4 progress, which explores the empty mug and moves it to the victory display. Now we can reduce our threat if we get means to. Well, means to other than the quest card, of course. Of course, we're not going to engage Spy from Mordor because we can't do anything to it. We'll just use Dúnhere's special ability to attack him in the staging area at +1. So 3 attack versus 2 defense will only deal 1 damage. But it's something, and we didn't have to take an attack to get it. All good, we move to the next round. We definitely start off by busting out Steward of Gondor. Exhaust that to add 2 resources to Eowyn. And get out our first ally, Northern Tracker. Northern Tracker has excellent stats, except for his will, but that just means he's a great all-arounder, because his effect is great when he quests, and then the attack, defense, and hit points are great when he fights. Similar logic as last time, I quest everybody and then ready Dúnhere with Unexpected Courage. From Theodred's effect, I get to give a resource to a hero. I give it to Theodred, so I can get out Guard of the Citadel next round. Then we still have a resource on Eowyn in case we need to play Hasty Stroke. Our card is Belloq's Marauder. While it's engaged with a player, it gains, after a time counter is removed from the current quest, deal it 2 Shadow Guards. That can be brutal. Really, the brutal thing is the 5 attack, 4 defense, 5 hit points. This guy is a tank. So we only make 2 progress, which is something. Since we don't place progress, it is instead converted into threat reduction. We're down to 24 threat. This is me realizing I forgot to raise our threat at the end of the round from Nalir, so that's what it would have been. I also am noticing that time counters have not been removed from our quest card. I think dragon cards used to do that automatically, but maybe it broke again. It hasn't always been consistent functionality. Anyway, on to the next round, we get Dwarven Tomb. That just brings a spirit card back from your discard pile. I spend first 2 resources from Theodred to bring out a Guard of the Citadel, and 4 resources from our spirit heroes to bring out another Northern Tracker. Feels good. I did again forget to raise threat from Nalier, but I'll remember. And given how easy this quest makes it to reduce your threat, it wouldn't matter even if I did forget and not remember. We'll see. I might be forgetting that I forgot. But as far as I know, I did eventually remember each time. But that's the game. It's a complicated game. You're always going to forget something. So I'm committing everyone to the quest. Well, I'm leaving back Northern Trackers for now because they're such good fighters. I might be planning to engage that spy from Mordor. We reveal conspicuous lot. Yes, we are. Each player raises his threat by 1 for each ally he controls. And if any player's threat is 20 or less, this card gains surge. So that's me remembering so raise my threat by 3, and I remember to raise it 1 additional 1 for Nalier's effect, which would have triggered at the beginning of the round. We make 2 progress, which reduces our threat by 2. This is the point at which I realize that time counters are not being removed. On round 3, we should have 2 left, minus 1 from the 1 treachery we revealed. I'm going to try it using resource tokens, which is kind of what the original rules specify, since the game doesn't come with time counter tokens. It's just something that's basically featured in this cycle. So I say per round, minus 1 resource. That should count down the number of resources on the quest card, by 1 each round. Alright, now I get the chance to just optionally engage the spy from Mordor. I'm going to defend with the Northern Tracker, 2 defense versus 3 attack. Shadow effect, raise the defending player's threat by 1, X, where X is the amount of damage dealt by this attack. Deals 1 damage, raise my threat by 1. I could have canceled it with Hasty Stroke, but I'm not too worried about threat right now. So Dúnhere and Northern Tracker, my other Northern Tracker attacking back, has 4 versus 2 defense, deals 2 damage, plus the 2 that Dúnhere already placed on him. Mordor Spy is destroyed. I trigger its effect, really it should have triggered when it attacked. Remove a time counter from the current quest. I do so. That reduces our threat elimination level by 10. I'm going to put progress tokens on Nalier to track how much lower our threat elimination level is. So we will now be eliminated at 40 threat. It looks like our automation option did not remove our resource per round. I might report that as a bug, so I do it manually. Yep, it doesn't look like it functioned properly. Regardless, our card draw this round is Gandalf. I remember to do Nalier's effect. And we will activate Steward of Gondor for those sweet, sweet resources. Thinking about playing Gandalf, both to help us quest and to help us deal with that Marauder up there in staging. Dúnhere can't crack his 4 defense right now. We play Gandalf. We use his effect to draw cards. We will draw a sneak attack, another Gandalf, and an unexpected courage. All excellent. It's great to have a sneak attack plus Gandalf in your hand. Alright. So now I count up how much attack we're going to need to deal with the Marauder, and I'm going to make sure to quest only enough to prevent us from raising our threat more. I decide to quest Theodred instead of Dúnhere because at least Theodred gives us a resource for questing him. Decide to put it on himself. When revealed, return all engaged enemies to the staging area. Then the first player either removes a time counter from the current quest card, or each spy enemy in the staging area gets +2 threat until the end of the phase. Concealment was no longer possible, and they could only hope that no enemy or spy was observing them, from the Fellowship of the Ring. I'm not sure if I did this part right. When a card offers you 2 options, can you take an option that does not exist? Like, can I raise the threat of each spy in the staging area if there are no spies in the staging area? Okay, engage the Marauder, declare Gandalf as defender. The shadow effect is an attacking enemy makes an additional attack. That is disastrous, so we cancel that with our Hasty Stroke. Brilliant. Then we're going to use Common Cause, exhaust Dúnhere to ready Theodred, and then exhaust Unexpected Courage to ready Dúnhere. Now we just need to swing for our 9 attack. Nalier actually gets to do something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the Marauder has been marauded. On to the next round. Increase our threat from Nalier. We draw Campfire Tales, and Gandalf runs off on wizard business. Campfire Tales is a waste of space in a single player deck. Spend a resource to just replace it. So I do. It's a Galadrim's Greeting, which is decent. Eowyn isn't the Steward of Gondor now, apparently. To be fair, she does marry the the last steward of Gondor, Faramir. It's not too outlandish that she would end up steward. I put this unexpected courage on Theodred, so we don't have to do the thing that we had to do with Common Cause to ready him with Dúnhere. We can just have his 2 attack ready if we need it. He's also got a good number of hit points. Pretty handy guy. I quest everybody but Nalier, and then ready our 2 heroes with unexpected courage. Orchound, Surge. After engages a player, we have to exhaust a character we control. Tharbad Hideout, Surge, again. While it's the active location, time counters cannot be removed from the current quest. That's handy. But at the beginning of the quest phase, place a progress on it, so we can't just travel there and then not clear it. That surges into Orc Skirmisher. After it engages a player, that player must either deal 3 damage to a character he controls or remove a time counter from the current quest. Well, because of that double surge, we have 3 cards in staging, but we still make 5 progress. That will translate into 5 threat reduction, but Orchound will still be engaging us with an engagement cost of 20. Travel phase first. I travel to Tharbad Hideout. Then encounter phase, it engages us. Deciding who to exhaust, I exhaust Theodred. That would not leave me enough attack left over to kill it, so I sneak attack Gandalf. Gandalf's effect, deal 4 damage to an enemy. I deal 4 damage to the skirmisher in the staging area, because he has a nasty effect. And then I will defend the Orchound with Gandalf. No effect. Gandalf takes no damage. Dúnhere and Nalier together have the 3 attack necessary to take out the Hound. We dealt with that nicely. Alright, at the end of the combat phase, Gandalf returns to our hand from Sneak Attack's effect. I forgot to discard the card, but I did remember to spend its resource earlier. Nalier raises us by additional threat, as every round. We remove our time counter. Oh, actually, we don't remove our time counter because of Tharbad Hideout. Well, it's the active location. Do not remove time counters. We have another Dwarven Tomb. I will play it to bring a spirit card back from our discard pile. I want that Hasty Stroke in our hand for emergencies. It is a response, which means you have to have it in your hand when you trigger its response. I can't just reveal a shadow effect, say, oh, that's a bad shadow effect, and then play Dwarven Tomb, get it back from my hand, and trigger Hasty Stroke's response, because its response is to the shadow effect being revealed. Quest everybody but Nalier and Guard of the Citadel. Ready Theodred and Dúnhere with their courage. Seedy Inn. To travel there, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a spy enemy and add it to the staging area. We are probably not going to travel there. We have Northern Trackers. After they commit to a quest, each one places a progress on every location in the staging area. We make 6 progress, which translates to 6 threat reduction. I think I forgot to assign resource from Theodred's effect, so I put that on Éowyn. On to the next round. Through our timer and threat raise, we drew Lorien Guide. After Lorien Guide commits to a quest, place 1 progress token on the active location. Not going to help us this round, except for the fact that they can quest for 1. Northern Trackers place 2 progress because there's 2 of them triggering their effect. We ready our heroes with their courage. Streets of Tharbad, progress cannot be placed on it while it's in staging area, so that means Northern Trackers can't deal with it. When it's the active location, enemies get minus 20 engagement cost. As soon as his back was turned, a dark figure climbed quickly in over the gate and melted into the shadows of the village street from the Fellowship of the Ring. So we make our 4 progress, meaning 4 threat reduction. Remember, our goal is to get to 0, and at that point we advance to the next quest stage. We will travel to Streets of Tharbad because we don't care if enemies have minus 20 engagement cost. There are no enemies in play. That means Dúnhere has nothing to do, so on to the next round. We run out of time counters for the second time, meaning our threat elimination level is now reduced by 20. We drew Westfold Horsebreaker. Action, discard it to choose and ready a hero. It's a decent emergency card. Your own valor has done more, and the stout legs of the Westfold men marching through the night. Gandalf the Two Towers. Well, we certainly have the resources for this individual. This is why the companion deck has 2 heroes that do card draw, Barivore and Bilbo Baggins. We need it at this point. We have so many resources that we can't spend because we're not drawing enough cards. Lorien Guide places a progress token on the active location. It can't have progress placed on it in the staging area, but it's active location, that does not matter. And I decide to make sure we have a chump blocker to prevent disaster. Spy from Mordor. Making 9 progress. It's all the way down to 12, almost there. Just debating whether to engage this guy. I decide just to plink on him with Dúnhere. Dúnhere's at 3 attack, remember, when he attacks enemies in the staging area alone. Next round, Nally raises our threat. We lose a time tracker and we draw Dunedain Mark, which is actually great to see. Attached to a hero, attached hero gets +1 attack. You know who that's going on? It's Dúnhere. Now he attacks for 4 when he uses his effect. This is going really smoothly for just having core set cards, basically. We reveal Hidden Alleyway. Travel, raise each player's threat by X to travel there. X is the number of enemies in play, currently just 1. And after traveling there, we do get to add a time counter to the current quest, which is good. First we make our 6 progress, means 6 threat reduction. We then raise our threat by 1 to travel. Add a time counter to the current quest. Spy from Mordor is not long for this world. Dúnhere can now hit him for 4, dealing 2 damage since he has 2 defense. Move on to the next round. You draw Fortune or Fate. That brings a hero back from your discard pile at a cost of 5 resources. You're not going to use that unless a hero gets lost, and try not to let that happen. So, fairly useless. We could eventually play our Gandalf. I'm holding on to him in case we draw a sneak attack. It's great to have an ally in hand if you know there are sneak attack cards in your deck. Lorien Guide places a progress on the active location. When they commit to the quest, we reveal another Spy from Mordor. Okay, we still make 7 progress. 4 onto the active and 3 onto the main quest. Right back to 7. This is me forgetting to remove the time counter and raise our threat by now later. Like I said, I think I've remembered every time, just usually not when I'm supposed to. Okay, Dúnhere destroys our first Spy from Mordor, and we just move to the next round. Round 11 already. Nice to see, Snowborn Scout. After it enters play, choose a location and place a progress token on that location. He saw not a shadow nor a blur, but the small figures of horsemen, many horsemen, and the glint of morning on the tips of their spears was like the twinkle of minute stars beyond the edge of mortal sight. From the 2 towers. Great ally from the core set. We're going to play him even though we don't have an active location in play. He is now our designated chump blocker. He has no attack and no defense, so what else is he going to do? That means we can quest Guard of the Citadel for his 1 will at least. Ready our heroes with their unexpected courage. We reveal Orc Skirmisher. Makes 7 progress, down to 3 threat. Gonna whack the Skirmisher with Dúnhere. He's more of a threat to me than the Spy. On to the next round. Draw is another Dunedain Mark. I think this has appeared in every episode this series. Alright, Dúnhere's at 5 attack when he uses his effect. 4 attack otherwise. Adrian gives himself the resource. Seems weird to quest with all these 1 will allies. But we don't have any really higher willpower options. When revealed, raise your threat by 1 for each ally you control. Then if any player's threat is 20 or less, this card gains Surge. Well, unfortunately, we control 7 allies. Really, it should be 8. We control Nally also, but I'm only thinking about 7 at this point. And our threat is still low, so it does Surge. Deal each orc enemy and play a shadow card. Each orc enemy gets -15 engagement cost until the end of the round. Thankfully, we are still below their engagement costs. So we make our 7 progress, which means our threat goes down even more, back to 5. We are not going to engage these folks. Just keep whacking away with Dúnhere. Right, shadow cards are discarded at the end of the combat phase. It was attacking enemy makes an additional attack after this one. I'm glad that didn't trigger. We do have a hasty stroke. Alright, we remove our last time counter for the third time, meaning our elimination level is now 20. I think we're at 7 threat. Through another Galadrim's Greeting. We just move on to quest. I'm saving the Galadrim's Greetings because I don't think the next quest card lets us reduce our threat by questing, so I'm saving it for then. For now, we can just quest, and that's fine. Hideout surges into Streets of Tharbad. We met these cards before. We make 6 progress. Go to 1 threat. Before I resolve questing, I might discard a card to Eowyn for her effect, boost her will by 1. And that will allow us to advance to stage 2, since we will have 0 threat. I do so. No need to stall much longer. We're on round 13. Even though the episode hasn't gone on long comparatively. Right, 0 threat, and we advance. Escape from Tharbad. You've eluded the orcs, and you make haste for the river crossing. If you can get across, perhaps you can escape. But Belloc has cleverly set a patrol at the ford, and you're quickly spotted. You make a dash for the river. Add Belloc and the crossing at Tharbad to the staging area. Oops. Belloc is a spy from Mordor. 5 attack, 4 defense, 7 hit points. X threat, where X is the number of players in the game. Orcs and creature enemies get minus 30 engagement cost and plus 1 threat. So thankfully that's not himself, but that is our spy from Mordor. We also have to add Crossing at Tharbad. It is immune to player card effects, and it cannot leave the staging area. It gets plus 2 quest points for each player in the game. That's just 1, so plus 2. We have to explore it to win the game, but like it says, we're immune to player card effects, so we can't use Northern Trackers. We can't travel there. We have to use our quest card. We will see what the other side says after we finish resolving this side. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Discard cards from the top until X orc enemies have been discarded. X is the number of players. Just 1. So we click discard until enemy. And the first one discarded is Orc Skirmisher. It is added to the staging area. It is also being affected by Belloc. Right. Escape from Tharbad. Stage 2B. Time 3. After the last time counter is removed, either raise each player's threat by 3, or Belloc makes an immediate attack against Nalier. Poor Nalier. What do you ever do besides sit around raising our threat the whole time? Then place 3 time counters on this stage. Now here's how we win. Progress that would be placed on this quest are instead placed on the Crossing of Tharbad. Final effect, after a character leaves play, raises controller's threat by 2. That affects, if we chump block somebody and they're destroyed, that also affects Gandalf leaving play. I forget if that happens this game, but I feel like I forget that effect if it does. So now we have suddenly a full staging area. Thankfully nothing's going to engage us. We have 0 threat, but if we travel the Streets of Tharbad it will. So we are going to travel to Tharbad Hideout instead. I don't want to deal with attacks from 2 orcs. And we don't have a dedicated defender here. All our heroes have 1 defense. In the combat phase, we declare Dúnhere as an attacker against this Orc Skirmisher. 5 attack, 2 defense, deals 3 damage. That will be all. We'll just advance the next round. Remove a time counter, then remember that Tharbad Hideout says that time counters cannot be removed from the current quest. We do still raise our threat because of Nalier's effect. We're up to 26 resources on Eowyn, 11 on Theodred. We draw Unexpected Courage, which we slap right on Dúnhere. We just go ahead and quest. I see that there's so many enemies in staging area, I'm just going to leave Dúnhere up instead of questing him. He can attack multiple times with his Unexpected Courage. Our active location places a progress token on itself at the beginning of the quest phase, so that will have already been cleared. We're still making -1 progress, which means we're not questing enough. Do I quest Dúnhere? Nope, I decide it's time to bust out Gandalf. We have the resources for sure. He can also help us fight off these orcs, so we can travel to Streets of Tharbad. Gandalf enters play. I debate drawing cards, but I decide to deal 4 damage to an enemy. I will deal that damage to Spy from Mordor. Gandalf will neatly solve several problems at once. So that takes 3 threat out of the staging area. They can also quest for 4, meaning we're making 6 progress. Our encounter card. Deal each orc enemy in play a shadow card. Each orc enemy gets minus 15 engagement cost until the end of the round. That skirmisher is engaging us no matter what we do. 6 progress. It's all placed on Crossings of Tharbad. Halfway there. We travel to Streets of Tharbad because everything already has like minus 45 engagement cost. So Orc Skirmisher engages us. Whoops. I think I may forget to deal an additional shadow card. We will see. From its effect, I deal 3 damage to a character we control. That'll be Gandalf. I defend with Snowborn Scout. It's his time to shine. Shadow card, no effect. Really, we should have added another shadow card, but Snowborn Scout's getting destroyed anyway, so now that I'm watching this and I saw that I missed it, I'll have to pay attention to what the next card would have been. I don't think it'll change anything, though. Regardless, we hit back with Dúnhere. And we can also start attacking Belloc using Unexpected Courage if we want. Only deal 1 damage, but it's something. Move on to the next round. Nala raises our threat. Time counter. Gandalf leaves play at the end of the round. I forget to raise our threat because of the quest card's last effect. When an character leaves play, raise your threat by 1. I might have remembered to do it for the Snowborn Scout, but I did not remember to do it for Gandalf. But I don't think it'll matter. Notice how we have 2 Galadrim's Greetings in our hand, which each lower our threat by 6 if we spend them, and we definitely have the resources for it. It is safe to say that mistake will not matter. Mooring Guide clears the active location. Wheel another CD in. We are making 7 progress. It all gets placed on the Crossing of Tharbad, which has 12 quest points. We have 13 progress on it. When it's explored, we win the game. So, GG, that went unexpectedly smoothly, despite not having a single hero with more than 1 defense, which is pretty abysmal. We chump blocked once, and we had characters ready the rest of the time in case we had to do it again. Gandalf definitely took some damage. And we can review our deck. This obviously is being made from a very limited card pool, just core set and Hunt for Gollum. So I'm going to try to keep changes I would recommend in the scope of that, as it's deliberately a progression deck. And we did really well despite not having the deck this is designed to work with. With Theodred, Éowyn, great heroes. I'm glad we gave Dúnhere a chance to shine. Another great lineup is Éowyn, Theodred, and Leadership Aragorn if you're using the core set. That changes your resource balance a little more toward leadership, but since Aragorn can spend his own resources and can also get the Spirit Sphere through Celebrian Stone attachment, the balance seems to work out. If I was going to change anything else, more copies of Faramir, Éowyn's future husband, just because we had all these 1 will allies. It would have been nice to be able to make them all suddenly 2 will. We would have been able to afford it with Theodred. You can even afford it with Stand and Fight. If you use Éowyn's effect to discard an ally from your hand, you can then use Stand and Fight to play it from your discard pile, as long as it's of a sphere, in this case leadership. Attachments look good. Campfire Tales is worthless in single player, so if we were doing a single player, obviously ditch that. Could have used additional Galadrim's Greeting, because that works really well with Dúnhere, keeping your threat low so stuff doesn't engage you. But no, this is, for such a small card pool, this was a very solid deck, and it had a clearly designed niche, clearly designed for the Hunt for Gollum, as the title suggests. I contemplated just saying, oh, well, this is a deck for a particular quest, we should play that quest, but this is the Random Deck series, where we take a random deck versus a random quest. And our random quest was Trouble in Tharbad, which is actually a really good quest to show off Dúnhere. That quest card giving us the ability to lower our threat just by questing meant that we could mostly keep stuff from engaging us and let Dúnhere do his job and have a chance to shine. Hey folks, this is Ben from the future, returned to the past to correct a grievous mistake while my past self fills out this episode's quest log. I failed to make a single Dúnhere joke this whole episode. You know, like, now that we're into the episode, we're finished, we're done here. Fantastic. With that corrected, I also wanted to give a heads up that the release schedule for this series is changing for a while. I'll be trying out some other release days, starting with next episode, which will be coming out early next month. To make sure you see it when it arrives, click subscribe, and you can even like the video to give the algorithm an extra hint that you want to see more of this content. The series will also be moving to a bi-weekly cadence while I settle into a streaming schedule. I invite you to check it out on Twitch sometime. The link is in the description, as always. I very much hope you'll join me for next episode regardless. So, goodbye until then.